Straight Shift with the Car Chick, the podcast that's all about cars, buying, selling, fixing, and driving, and sometimes running fast if you're the Car Chick. Now, here she is.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Straight Shift. The last couple of podcasts I have spent talking about car warranties, factory warranties, extended warranties, and I touched on in the last episode about extended warranties, certified pre-owned warranties, and certified pre-owned cars. And that's really a whole animal in and of itself. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What is a CPO car? What does that mean? What do you get? Is it worth it? And how much should it cost? That way you will know the next time you go out to look for what I call a slightly used car, you can make a good decision as to whether or not it's worth it to you to buy a certified pre-owned car versus just a normal used car. So what exactly is a certified pre-owned car? Certified pre-owned cars are used cars that are purchased by a franchise dealer. So let's just say, a Subaru store purchases a used Subaru. They either take it in on trade or very often they buy them directly from the manufacturer's captive finance company, because when these cars are turned in from lease or they've been program cars, either with a rental agency or within the manufacturer's corporation itself, those cars tend to go into what are called closed auctions, meaning that the franchise dealers get first dibs on them, which is why franchise dealers typically have the better quality, slightly used cars on their lot. So what they'll do is they'll buy up these cars, and if the cars pass their quality criteria that is defined by that manufacturer's certified pre-owned program, and they meet certain age and mileage qualifications, they'll be able to certify that car, meaning that the manufacturer says, yep, this used car meets our quality standards, and we're comfortable backing it with a factory-backed extended warranty. So a lot of people think that buying a certified pre-owned car guarantees them that it's a used car that is not going to cause them any problems. It's, practically as good as buying a new car. Is that true? Like most things, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, the answer to that is, it depends. We don't live in a black and white world, and certainly the automotive industry is anything but black and white. So let's go through really what these certified programs are, how they work, and what they include. Because each manufacturer is a little bit different. So not all certified pre-owned programs are created equal. On average, however, most manufacturers have some basic criteria of the car has to be, anywhere from 3 to 7, model years old or newer. So they're not going to take a 10-year-old car with a bunch of miles on it and certify it because it's older and it has more miles, and they know that things are going to start breaking on it naturally. Therefore, they'd be crazy to put a factory warranty or any other kind of warranty on it from them. So that's why most programs, typically the 5 to 7 years old range, typically anywhere from 75 to 80,000 miles. Some programs are less, some programs are more. But then they also have to pass some sort of multi-point inspection. It might be a 150-point inspection, a 162-point inspection, a 184-point inspection. Quite honestly, I think the manufacturers just make up these stupid numbers just so that they can try and one-up each other in the number of points of their inspection to make them sound better than everybody else. Honestly, it's more of, okay, what are those points? What are they looking at? Because a certified pre-owned car is not guaranteed to be a perfect car. It's not a new car. It's still a used car. And so each manufacturer has a little bit different quality standards of, what they're looking for and what they deem is acceptable for a car to be able to become a part of their certified pre-owned program. Now, most of these inspections will look at, okay, everything really needs to work. Obviously the car, the engine has to work, the transmission has to work. It's got to go forward and backward. It has to stop. The windows have to roll up and down. The radio has to work. They do go through all of the mechanical inspections. They look at, make sure that all the accessories work, the air conditioning works, the sunroof opens and closes properly. pretty much every program covers all of those things. So you do know that the car should work. And, that's really the first thing that you need to look for in any used car is, hey, does it work? So then it gets a little more varying and amorphous with what they're looking at. A lot of programs say that the CARFAX report on that car has to be clean, meaning that there are no accidents, no blemishes, no salvage, no theft, no flood, nothing on the CARFAX report that's considered a ding against you. Typically, it just means that there are no accidents, and obviously it's not a salvage car. It's not, a lemon branded title or anything like that. But not every certified pre-owned program requires the CARFAX to be completely clean. Some of them do. Some of the manufacturers say, if there are any accidents on the CARFAX report, I don't care if someone literally backed into a grocery cart going 3 miles an hour. If it's on the CARFAX report, we're not going to certify that car. But I'll tell you that strict standard is pretty rare. There are a lot of certified pre-owned programs out there that will allow a slightly imperfect CARFAX report. So, Honda is one of these programs, and I'm not bagging on them for it. They still say that, the car can't have been totally wrecked. But obviously, if it's a bumper, a little accident, you crash into each other in the Walmart parking lot, like that doesn't happen every day. Or, it's just a little minor fender bender that doesn't affect more than one, at the most 2 body panels. Something that's not going to affect the mechanics and the quality of the car. Nothing got into the frame. It didn't, render the car not drivable. They had to rebuild a whole bunch of it. Really, they changed out the bumper cover and maybe put on a new door skin or popped out some dings and touched up the paint. They're okay with that. They're like, those are cosmetics and we can fix those. It doesn't interfere with how this car is going to run and perform, at least during the certified pre-owned warranty period. After that runs out, dude, you're on your own. So I tend to look very carefully at that because, if the accident was a few body panels, I've seen certified pre-owned cars that they had a kind of moderate accident on the CARFAX report. It noted that the car was not drivable. It had to be towed. If it shows that and they still certified it, I don't necessarily get warm and fuzzy feeling, and I will probably still pass on that car, even though it's certified pre-owned, because when you get into an accident that's more significant and they have to rebuild, replace a lot more mechanical components on the car, not just door skins or bumper covers, then you could see problems further down the line. And quite frankly, I'm like, okay, it's not really a good enough car for my standards. I'll tell you, my standards are going to be higher than any certified pre-owned standards, but I'm really picky. But I'm going to avoid those kind of cars. So really, look, don't just assume that if a car is certified pre-owned, doesn't mean that it hasn't been in an accident. Typically, the certified pre-owned program will require that the dealership share the CARFAX report with you. And so you can see, look through the whole history. Don't just read the first page to see if it's, quote, clean. Read the whole darn thing, and see if there are any issues on there. Because it may not be perfect. And it may be something that you're like, I'm not willing to take that risk because that accident was more than just a scratch on the rear bumper in a parking lot. Another thing that varies greatly are looking at the tires on the car. Some certified pre-owned programs, especially in your luxury cars, your Audis, your BMWs, those tend to be a little bit more strict. And they say that all the tires have to be the same brand and the same model tire all the way around. So, if the car has Michelin Pilot Sport 3 all-season tires on it, all 4 of them have to be Michelin Pilot Sport, all-season tires. Some don't. I was actually amazed that some CPO programs just say, the tread all has to be more than 50% remaining. So the tire can only be, slightly less than 50% worn, or better. But they don't all have to be the same. You can have different tires on different wheels and it's still okay. I was looking for a certified pre-owned Nissan Maxima last year, and I found a CPO one at a Nissan dealer here in the Charlotte area. And I went to look at it because I was looking at some things and I'm like, something looks hinky here. And so I went up there and I was really surprised that this car passed the certified pre-owned program because it literally had 3 different types of tires on it, 3 completely different brands. Yes, they all had tread on them, but all the tread patterns were completely different, which is unsafe. And you shouldn't do that. And it's quite frankly pretty damn lazy by the manufacturer if they allow that. So I had a little conversation with the used car manager. And I said, what's the deal? How did you certify this car when it has 3 different brands of tires on it, 2 of which suck? And because they were cheap Chinese, really bad tires. And I said, why didn't you just replace all the tires and, make them all the same and put a good tire on there? And then, sell it at an appropriate price. And he's like, well, the program doesn't require it. It had tires on it. The program only requires that the tread be greater than 50%. Doesn't say they have to match. So I wasn't going to spend the money. I was like, holy cow. So that's when I really started pulling the multi-point checklist for each manufacturer to learn really what their quality standards are, because clearly some of them did not have quality standards that were anywhere close to mine. So you can Google those. Sometimes the dealer is happy to share that inspection checklist with you, and they really should be if they are standing behind their CPO program. Some dealers just get a little persnickety about you asking for too much information, which tells me they're hiding something and I don't do business with them. But you can always get on, our best friend Google and Google, Toyota certified pre-owned inspection checklist. And typically a PDF will come up. So you can look and see what those criteria are. And that's what I do. So each program is not the same. Most of them, however, do require that the car not have any aftermarket parts on it, because if they're aftermarket parts, obviously the manufacturer in the factory cannot stand behind them. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was caught by whatever technician inspected the car. I bought a certified pre-owned Toyota FJ Cruiser for one of my childhood best friends. I mean, literally, this guy was my very first best friend from the time we were 6.5 years old, and his family lives out in California. And so, we bought this car for him, and it was certified pre-owned by Toyota. And, the next couple weeks after we bought it, he texts me, he's like, I'm having some problem with the lights. They're not working right. He's like, can I bring him to my Toyota dealer here in my town? Because we had bought it from a different dealer in the San Francisco Bay Area that was about an hour away from him. I'm like, yeah, it's certified pre-owned, it's covered by the warranty. You can take it to any Toyota dealer. And he did that, and the dealership found that the headlights on the car were actually aftermarket. You couldn't really tell. They looked very much like the factory headlights, but they were not, and they were not working properly. So that dealership said, hey, these are aftermarket, it's not covered on the CPO warranty. And I stepped in and said, ho, time out. We bought the car this way only 2 weeks ago. We didn't put these on the car. They were on the car when we bought it. And the dealership said, well, we get it, but unfortunately, you'll have to take that up with the dealership you bought it from, which was fine. And so I did, and explained to that service manager what was going on. And they were cool about it. They came and picked up the car, brought it back, and they're like, yeah, you're right. We missed that. And so they replaced those faulty aftermarket headlights with factory ones, which they should have done when the car went through the CPO inspection in the first place. If they wanted to still certify it, they could have left it like that and sold it as a non-CPO car. But, if there are aftermarket parts on the car, the dealership will have to remove those, replace them with original factory parts in order to certify it. So they missed that and they screwed up. But fortunately, after some pressure from me, they did the right thing and they fixed the problem. So things can slip through the cracks. Mechanics are human, and when they're trying to get through 100 new cars that the used car manager has bought at auction in the last couple of weeks, and they're trying to get them through the service department and get them through that CPO program, you know what? Occasionally stuff will get missed. So as the car buyer, you still have to be careful that you don't find yourself in that situation and you're buying a CPO car that actually has some aftermarket parts on it. Most of these programs also require that the windshield be free of, any chips or cracks, and it has to be an original factory windshield. if you've ever had, your windshield chipped and whatever, and you've had to have it replaced and, Safe Light or Cracked Glass, which is personally my favorite because that's a hilarious brand. If they come out, to your location and swap out the windshield there in the parking lot and your insurance pays for it, all good things. Frequently, though, those windshields are not factory original equipment windshields. They're aftermarket windshields because they're cheaper, because the insurance company is being cheap, basically. So if the car has one of those aftermarket windshields and they notice, the mechanic notices that, technically it shouldn't pass the CPO program. Again, that's a hard thing to know whether or not it's an original factory windshield. Quite frankly, I don't actually know how they know that, but they should also be free from chips and cracks. But again, that doesn't always happen. Just last week, I bought a really beautiful low-mile certified pre-owned for one of my clients. And we didn't notice this. We didn't see it in the pictures. The person that I had look over it and put their nose up to every piece of the car to look at it for me, didn't notice. But my client noticed on the drive home, when the sun hit the windshield at a certain angle, there were a couple little chips in it. And so, that technically should not have passed the certified pre-owned program. Had the same thing happen to an Audi that we bought down in Florida. Now, a couple of things could have happened here. Number one, the technician may not have seen them, because sometimes you don't notice those little tiny chips unless the sun's at the right angle or you're really carefully looking for them. I actually just noticed one on Maggie on my car yesterday. So that may mean I have an excuse to get a new windshield, which I desperately need anyway. But it could also have happened after the car went through that inspection, because remember, this is a used car. It goes through the inspection, and then it goes back on the sales lot where people come over and test drive it. So it's possible that those chips happened after the inspection on either a test drive or when one of the salespeople was taking it down to the gas station to get gas, whatever. So again, just because it's certified pre-owned doesn't mean it's necessarily perfect, or that something cosmetically didn't happen to the car after it went through the inspection process. So look very carefully at the cosmetics, at the tires, at the windshield. Try and look for aftermarket parts. I know that can be very difficult to do when you're not as familiar with aftermarket parts. I certainly wouldn't have noticed that the lights were different on that FJ Cruiser. But also the cosmetics, don't have to be perfect. There's nothing that says in most of these inspections that, the leather has to be perfect or there can't be any scratches or chips in the paint. Because guess what, people? This is a used car. This is part of the reason that, you're not paying the new car price. That initial depreciation is because someone else has already used it and it's not perfect. So don't expect a certified pre-owned car, or quite frankly, any used car, to have perfect paint, to not have a little tiny scratch or a chip in the paint somewhere, or a little tiny door ding. Sometimes the dealers will touch those up. Sometimes it's just not worth it to the cost to them, because it is a used car, and you as a buyer need to have some realistic expectations. Now, can they fix those? Sure, absolutely. They can put that through their body shop and have them, sometimes if it's a light scratch, it's not through the clear coat, it can be buffed out, or they can touch it up, or if it's one of those fancy metallic paints, they'll have to actually repaint that whole body panel, that entire door, which is going to cost you money. But don't expect them to do that necessarily as a part of the price of the car. Unless it's something really significant and obvious and like, whoa, why is that even on your lot kind of thing? Because used cars are not perfect. End of story. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't seen some certified pre-owned cars, particularly your Highline cars, that had some cosmetic issues that, quite frankly, surprised me that they would, in good conscience of their brand, would certify it, even though technically it's not on the little checklist. Looking at a certified pre-owned Audi a few months ago for a client, a Q5, and it was a year old, had really low miles, and the pictures looked good, but obviously, online pictures don't show everything. And so I had my person over there really look at it. And, unfortunately, you can't entirely rely on a salesperson to give you a 100% honest appraisal of what the car looks like. Because number one, they want to sell the car. Number two, they just may not be someone who notices these things. Which is why, and I'm going to get a little bit reverse sexist here, I tend to ask for women at the dealership to go look at a car for me, because on average, I have found them to be much pickier than the guys are. So, but you never know. And also these guys know that this is a used car and they're in the used car business. They see thousands of these things every year. And so what to them is a really clean car, they're grading on a curve here. In comparison to all other used cars they've ever seen in their life, this one might be really great. But is it perfect? No. But I was surprised that this one particular Audi had a lot of fading on the leather on the driver's seat and had a bunch of scuffs on the inside door panel. Quite honestly, I think those scuffs happened after the car was detailed and people had been test driving it and kicking open that door panel. So that was able to be cleaned up. But there was something funky about the leather. It was really discolored on the driver's seat. And so we passed on that car. I don't know if the dealer made the decision to swap out the leather on that seat and fix it. Probably not. They probably sold it to another person who didn't notice or just wasn't as picky as we were. So again, the cosmetics don't have to be perfect. So that is the criteria, and it varies so much with manufacturer on certified pre-owned programs. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and talk about what does that certified pre-owned warranty give you? How much does it cost? And quite frankly, is it worth it? Be right back after this. Do you hate car shopping? Do you worry about being taken advantage of or about finding the right car at a great price? Buying a car can be a frustrating and time-consuming experience. But what if you could get a great deal without having to do a ton of research, without having to haggle, and without the fear of buying a lemon? You can. As your personal car shopper, the Car Chick will help you pick the perfect car based on your unique lifestyle, budget, and personality. She'll handle all of the legwork and negotiating for you. All you have to do is sign the papers and take the keys. It's that easy. To learn how the Car Chick can save you time, money, and hassle on your next car purchase, give us a call at 704-248-8706. That's 704-248-8706. Or visit us on the web at thecarchick.com.
The Car Chick is back for more Straight Shift.
Welcome back to the Straight Shift. We're talking about certified pre-owned cars and those CPO programs. What does a certified pre-owned warranty give you? Because that's part of the CPO program. It's not just that the car passes certain quality criteria. They then back that with a certified pre-owned warranty that essentially extends the original factory warranty on the car by some additional amount of time and miles. And again, this varies a lot by manufacturer. Most brands, on average, your CPO program will extend the full, what you and I still call the bumper-to-bumper warranty. They call it the limited factory warranty. Typically, these programs will extend it for an average of another 12 months and 12,000 miles. Some of your Highline brands like Audi have changed that recently to an additional 12 months and unlimited miles, whereas other programs are even shorter than that. So again, it really varies. But they'll also tend to extend your powertrain warranty. And remember, we've talked about what that is. The powertrain is any of the parts that make your car go forward or backward. So typically your engine, your transmission, and those, big related components. Not necessarily all the little detailed components that go around it, but at least the big expensive stuff. Typically, the certified pre-owned program may extend that for up to a total of 6, 7, sometimes 8, occasionally even 10 years from the original factory in-service date, or 100,000 miles, whichever you hit first. And they may have some extra perks, like free maintenance may be included. You may get free roadside assistance with free towing. Some of them even will pay for, a rental car or limited travel expenses if your car breaks down out of town and you incur expenses because instead of driving home, you had to keep your car in the shop for a couple days while they fixed it for you, and you incurred additional travel expenses and inconvenience to you and your family. So some of the certified pre-owned programs actually cover that. So if you're looking at a certified pre-owned car, make sure you understand what the benefits of that program are, because they often have these little extra perks that are more than just giving you extra time and miles on the car's warranty. And those could be some deciding factors for you, when you're comparing different brands. How much does this fabulous CPO warranty and program cost you? Again, it depends. I think that's probably the phrase that I use most often when people ask me any sort of question in the car business. The answer is pretty much always, it depends. But some of them are fairly inexpensive. Last time I checked, I think, Honda's was about $700, and that's dealer cost. Audi's cost the dealer $1,500, but those are more expensive cars. They're more expensive to fix. So what happens is the manufacturer charges the dealer a certain amount for that warranty. And then the dealer may, choose, if they're really nice or if they're dealing with me, to just pass along that cost to you and not bump it up to give themselves an additional profit. Most dealers don't do that. Most of them will bump it up and make an additional profit on the warranty as well. And they're perfectly entitled to do that. I don't let them, but it's good business for them. But not all cars that went through the CPO inspection and qualified for certification will have that warranty cost built into the price of the car. Dealers used to do that all the time. So if you were looking at a certified pre-owned car, on Auto Trader or on the dealer's website or whatever, they would say, hey, this car is certified pre-owned and here's the price. And that price used to almost always include that warranty. You cannot make that assumption safely anymore, because the pricing of used cars has become so much more aggressive in the market, and the dealers are desperately trying to undercut each other on their advertised price. And the key word there, folks, is advertised price, because that price that they put on their website, there's a lot of gray area there, and they can sneak in a whole lot more dollars when you actually get onto the lot and look to buy the car. And, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of state laws, in most states anyway, that protect consumers from what I consider to be mildly to severely unethical advertising practices. But I also understand, how crazy competitive and kludgy and downright hinky the used car pricing market is. So bottom line, don't assume that the advertised price of the car that you're looking at, either on the sticker on the dealer's lot or on the price on their website or Auto Trader or Cars.com, wherever, is a price that includes a certified pre-owned warranty, even if it has that little certified pre-owned badge on the website in the ad. Because a lot of the dealers, they will put it through the program and they'll put it through the inspection, and basically the car qualifies for the certified pre-owned warranty, but they leave it up to the consumer to decide whether or not they want to purchase that certified pre-owned warranty. That allows the dealer to advertise their car at a lower price that might be more competitive to non-franchise dealers, independent dealers that are also selling those same cars. Because a lot of people don't realize when they're shopping for a used car and they're looking at those prices, why do the prices vary so much? People tend to shop on price and not realize that there's a big aspect of quality behind that, and you need to be shopping on that, not just on the price. It's, kind of like Walmart versus, Bloomingdale's. So, obviously two used cars are not created equal. And certified pre-owned cars are more expensive because of that additional warranty. So ask the salesperson, hey, does this advertised price include the certified pre-owned warranty or not? And they have to tell you that. So you may, if it doesn't include that, then you can decide if you want to add the cost of the warranty on there. And I always ask them, what is the dealer cost for that warranty? Ask for dealer cost. And you can verify that by calling a bunch of different franchise dealers and asking the same question. And if you don't get the exact same number from all of them, then you know that some of them are not telling you the truth. They are marking that up, and that is the price that they want to sell it for, but it's not necessarily what it costs them. So I always make sure that if my clients are buying a CPO car with the warranty, that we only pay dealer cost for it. I had an Audi dealer down in Florida last week try to tell me that their cost for the CPO warranty was $3,000, which is double what the actual cost is. And of course, I called BS on that, because come on, I buy probably 100 Audis a year. Give me a break. You can't BS the car chick. Don't even try. So, bottom line, check the price. And then you have to decide, is that additional cost worth it to you? Whether the cost of the warranty is built into the price of the car already or not. Because if it is built in, then that CPO car is going to be more expensive than a similar vehicle that is being sold on another dealership's lot where they can't certify it. So you do almost always pay more for a certified pre-owned car. Is it worth it or not? Well, it depends. It really is, what are you getting? What's the value for that cost? And what is the value to you? You have to look at whether or not the car, how much of the factory warranty, the original factory warranty, is still left on that vehicle. And then how many miles a year do you drive? And then is the cost of that additional CPO warranty, and how many more years and miles do you get with it? Is that worth it to you? And I know that's complicated, so I'll give you an example. Again, the client I was working with in Florida, we were looking at 2016 to 2017 Audi A6s. So most of these cars have come off lease and have gone through the certified pre-owned program at the Audi dealerships. And Audi's certified pre-owned program is an additional year and unlimited miles for that CPO warranty. So that's really great for people that drive a whole bunch of miles. This particular client doesn't drive many miles at all. He bikes to work. He probably is only going to put 5,000 to 7,000 miles on this car per year. So we looked at it, and the factory warranty was going to expire in about another 6 months. So we would pay an extra $1,500 to get him one more year. And the unlimited miles didn't really benefit him because he wasn't going to put that many miles on it in the first place. And the car only had 25,000 miles, and actually less than that. I think it had less than 20,000 miles on it. So we looked at the numbers and said, okay, we're basically paying $1,500 for just one more year. And that wasn't worth it to him. He's like, for that, I'm just going to, put some money in the bank and self-insure against there being any additional problems on this car because I'm not going to drive it a whole heck of a lot. So the risk of something going wrong is lower to him. Similarly, I had another client here in Charlotte who she drives a boatload of miles a year. She's in sales. And so we were looking for a certified pre-owned Q7 SUV for her. And for her, with the miles she drives, that unlimited mileage made a big difference for her because the car still had some time on the factory warranty, and then you get the CPO warranty. So she would have blown through the remaining miles on the original factory warranty within a few months. So the fact that the CPO warranty made it unlimited miles, that was totally worth it to her because of her lifestyle and how many miles a year she drives. So you really have to look at your individual situation and then look at what is the cost of that CPO warranty and what benefits does it give you, and does that business case, that cost to value ratio, work out in your favor? Is that worth it to you? So there is, again, no black and white answer. It always depends. You have to look at, we talked about what was included in a lot of these warranties. Here's where you have to really look carefully at each manufacturer's program. Who has the best and the worst CPO programs? Well, in the luxury car segment, Lexus has one of the best. They really distinguish themselves. You get up to 8 years from, the car's original birthday and up to 100,000 miles on the powertrain warranty. And you also get an additional 2 years of, you get free maintenance for 2 years. You get the roadside assistance. You get extra length on the original factory warranty. They pay all of your travel expenses. If you incur those, they tow. You get a whole lot of perks with it. I like that they include 2 more years worth of included maintenance, which for them is really a risk mitigation. That means that you're going to maintain the car correctly, which makes it less likely that the car is going to break down. And it keeps bringing you back to the dealership for that maintenance. So Really, Lexus's certified pre-owned program is actually more of a customer loyalty program, but they can do that because they know their cars are reliable if you take care of them. So it doesn't hurt them to give you this great extra warranty coverage because they know that most people are probably never going to need it within that warranty period. Lexus is a Toyota underneath, and they're just really reliable, and the manufacturer stands behind that with a great CPO program. The only thing that's not good about it is that if you sell that car while it's still under the CPO warranty, you can't transfer that warranty to the new owner. Some of them allow you to do that. But Lexus doesn't. But that's a completely minor thing because most people that buy them keep them anyway. So no big deal. Surprisingly, Porsche actually has a really good certified pre-owned program, for people that can actually afford a Porsche, even certified pre-owned, my personal favorite cars. They give you 2 years and unlimited miles of the full warranty, and vehicles up to 8 years old, as long as they have less than 100,000 miles, qualify for that program. And I think that's fantastic because honestly, Porsches aren't necessarily the most reliable car on the market, especially if you drive them, the way they were meant to be driven. The fact that Porsche stands by that and they will certify a car that is that old with those miles on it and give you 2 years unlimited miles, that's pretty good. But you're paying a lot for a Porsche to begin with. In the non-luxury market, Hyundai and Kia hands down have the best program because, as I said before, when you buy a new Hyundai or Kia, you get 5 years 60 on the regular warranty, but you get 10 years 100,000 miles on that powertrain warranty. But if you buy one used, you lose that powertrain warranty. It just stays at the 5 year 60. But if you buy it certified pre-owned, you get that 10-year 100,000 mile powertrain warranty back. And that's great. And the other thing I like about it is that Hyundai requires that the CARFAX be squeaky clean. So it can't have, I can't say can't have been in any accidents. It can't have been in any accidents that show up on the CARFAX report. And CARFAX reports aren't perfect. They don't show everything. But at least Hyundai has that standard of CARFAX has to be clean or we're not going to stand behind this car because we just don't think that cars that have been, in any sort of accident that is documented should be certified pre-owned. And I respect that. So I do think that the certified pre-owned program for Hyundai and Kia is absolutely worth the little extra money. And it doesn't cost that much for that warranty. So if the dealer gives you a choice, I'm trying to remember how much extra it is, but I think it's less than $1,000. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to go back and look at my notes. But it's totally worth it, in my opinion, on those cars. Of the American brands, GM actually has one of the best certified pre-owned programs. Their standards of quality to qualify are not quite as strict, but you get 6 years, 100,000 mile powertrain and, 12-year, 12,000 mile bumper to bumper coverage. I mean, this is kind of average for the industry, but it's actually considered good for the American brands, which kind of give you an idea, if you want to expound upon that in your own mind, on, the American manufacturers and how not well they stand behind their own products. The worst CPO program, hands down, across the board, Chrysler. They only give you an extra 3 months or 3,000 miles. They at least give you 7 years, 100,000 on the powertrain. But quite frankly, with Chrysler products, especially today, it's all the stupid electronics and literally like everything else except the engine and the transmission that cause problems. So, that really tells you something. Chrysler doesn't even feel good about their own product, that they're not going to put, squat for an extended warranty on their own certified pre-owned vehicles. So, that is probably not worth it. But then again, buying a used Chrysler, in my opinion, not worth it either. Another thing that you can look at with certified pre-owned cars that can factor into whether it's worth it to you is that a lot of the manufacturers have special financing programs for their certified pre-owned cars. So, instead of paying the slightly higher used car interest rates, which can be these days, in the 4 or 5, even 6% range for a used car, certified pre-owned car might have rates that are a little bit closer to the new car rates. So they might have a special 0.9% or 1.9% financing for certified pre-owned cars. And if you run the numbers over the life of the loan, that lower interest rate actually saves you a lot of money. So that can help offset the higher cost of the CPO car and that warranty itself. So bottom line, is a CPO car worth buying? In many cases it is, but it depends on which type of car you're looking at, what the benefits of that CPO program are, and your personal lifestyle and how much you're going to be driving that car. So again, always look at the details, dig under the covers, look at the math, and never assume that just because a car is certified pre-owned means that it's going to be flawless, because reality is it's not. So still do your diligence as you would with any used car. If you're looking at maybe whether you should buy a certified pre-owned car and you have additional questions, again, always feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website, thecarchick.com, shoot me a message through the form there, or give me a call, the phone number on there, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Until next time, folks, drive safely. I'm out of here.
The Straight Shift podcast is copyright Leanne Shattuck, The Car Chick, 2017. All views expressed by guest and or co-hosts are those of the guest and or co-hosts, and not necessarily those of Leanne Shattuck or The Car Chick.